He loved the ocean. Yeah, I used to say, your other life, you were a seal when you were. Because he would always dive into the ocean, dive, 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 place his head in. And he played baseball, and here's a picture of Jared playing baseball. He played for 9 years in the Little League. He loved being outside and eating ice cream and popsicles, and picture of him in the summer. It was fun family moments and great times together, and that I cherish. So unfortunately, towards the later teen years is when it all changed. I thought the only drug I was struggling with my own son on was marijuana. I didn't think it was pills. I didn't hear of any other kids that were dying, or adults, or anybody that were dying from an overdose out here before Jared. You wore this baby out. He loved to explore. That's one thing he really liked doing as well. He loved collecting rocks. Everywhere we went, SeaWorld or wherever, we always collected rocks. I have a hair sample in here somewhere. But anyway, there it is. There's Jared's hair sample. I never took him. My husband and I never took Jared to a doctor for ADD. I later discovered that he was getting Adderall at times from a friend who was taking Adderall, and he was taking his pills. I didn't realize this until he was 19 years old. At 19, I discovered my son at 3 in the morning in the backyard, and he was nodding off. I didn't know that term. I said, "What are you doing out here? It's freezing cold, and you're sleeping on the chair." And I realized this is something strong. I don't know what you're on, but you need help. So we went to a psychologist, and that psychologist referred us to, quote unquote, the best doctor in Orange County. So he prescribed Prestige, and he gave the script for Klonopin. About 3 weeks later, Jared really was acting strange. He thought like the guy at the red light was talking about him in his car. He was like yelling through the car at him and through the window. He jumped out of my car when it was moving. He wasn't acting normal. So we went back to the doctor, and he prescribed, instead of the Prestige, he changed that out to Cymbalta. After about, I'd say, a month or so, really wasn't working. The building behind us is where the doctor is practicing, and this is where I took Jared to get help off of the opiates and heroin and the marijuana that he was on. I didn't realize that the doctor was already on a 5-year probation. He was giving himself Seroquel samples, and he was told not to, and he still did. And he was also tasered by the police, and he had psychotic episodes. And I wasn't aware of this. If I were aware of that, I would never have taken my son to see him. On Thanksgiving, I had my entire family here, and my sister found a crushed pill in his room. And that pill was called Opana. And that was what Jared was hooked on originally. And that is an opiate for terminal stages of cancer. So he relapsed that day, and it was a nightmare. Again, now it's Christmas time. Jared relapsed. He was a mess at Grandma's house in front of the entire family. He was complaining of all his aches and pains, and that my mom won't take me to the doctor. He thinks his ribs are broken. And it was a nightmare. His nose was bleeding. It was really a bad situation on Christmas Day. So he had relapsed now twice that I know of. He relapsed one more time on January 7th. When I left him there at 11, he was with 2 friends watching a movie, and he looked okay. And so he was sitting up in the same position where I saw him, barely breathing. And his dad came down here and discovered him, and he called me down. And then his dad did CPR and mouth-to-mouth resuscitation while I called 911. And then the ambulance came, and they worked on him. And then they rushed him to the hospital where he was born, and Jared passed away there at 3:47. The entire time his younger brother, who was then 15, was asleep. So we came back and we woke up Blake to tell him the news. And then we went back to say our goodbyes. So what Jared had taken was the Seroquel, that one box that he was supposed to take. He had 2 Klonopin, he had the Cymbalta, and then he relapsed again on a quarter of Opana, and that's how he died. Another friend of his passed away 2 weeks later, and then another friend 6 months after that, and another friend 11 months after, and then more kids in between. And I realized we had an epidemic going on out here in Orange County. So I created a poster that has 24 faces of kids on it who passed away. And I put it up in business windows and Starbucks and all these different places locally. And I had my home number on it, and I started getting phone calls asking for help. This is me putting up a poster in one of the business windows. And this is one of the articles that, got me on the news and got the word out. I get calls 24/7 from moms and dads and kids, and they want help. My website is called jaredslight.org, and you can log on, and there's several resources there for help. And you can ask me any questions there, and it's all private. What I try to do is get them insurance, and I to me, it's an urgency to get them into treatment right away. Sometimes it takes a month or two, and I hate it because I'm hoping that I'm going to find them again, or they're going to call me back. In 2010, we had 88 deaths. Last year, we had 367. I mean, the numbers have jumped. It's just, there's so much that needs to be done. How many of you are well aware or are familiar with this epidemic we have in Orange County of prescription drug/heroin overdoses? Raise your hand if you're aware of this. Okay. These are kids like you who were good students. They played football, they were in college, they came from good homes, but they fell into this trap of addiction because of that one choice that they made. That first choice can destroy. It was my son's choice he made to take that first pill. But doctors are the professionals, and they shouldn't be over-prescribing opiates without any testing, without any x-rays. What's getting me through this is the fact that I am helping, by giving back and trying to save another life. That it just helps me through all this. It really does. So the message of hope is important, and that's the message that I try to spread now, is there is always hope as long as they're breathing. Never give up on them. Never. You do everything you can possible to get them the help they need.